So I thought I would just introduce this coronavirus to all of you. This coronaviruses we've been seeing from more than 20 years is the fact. They are all enveloped RNA viruses and they are about four types. Coronaviruses are alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. And this COVID-19, which we are talking about, belongs to the beta coronavirus groups, which is actually a zoonotic virus. That is, the virus basically is with the animals like bats and rodents, but it has jumped onto the humans in 2019. It's called corona because of its spikes, which I will show you some pictures. It has some spikes on its body, looks like a crown, and that's why these coronaviruses are called so. And as I told you, they are zoonotic viruses, and whenever these zoonotic viruses, whichever of them, they jump to humans, they become more virulent. And in the past, also, we've had two coronavirus outbreaks to remind all of you. One was in 2002, and that was called severe acute respiratory syndrome virus. And we have the MERS, MERS, the Middle East respiratory syndrome virus, which was reported in 2012. So, but somehow, we escaped these two viruses as a pandemic. Now we are seeing this as a pandemic. We saw in Wuhan in China, and we kind of don't have an immune system to this virus, and it spreads very easily. Like what you have seen, the respiratory mode is the mode of transmission is through respiratory tract. So people exhale, and if we are around, people cough, people sneeze, even people talk loudly. If we are around, the respiratory droplets just get, if we get exposed to these droplets, we get infected. So basically, it is so easy that this virus gets transmitted from one person to other person, and the initial infection is an upper respiratory tract infection. So generally, you have a cold and a severe, small sore throat and all that. So that begins with an upper respiratory tract infection. We all must know this. These coronaviruses, they hold on to the cells of human cells onto one receptor. This receptor is called ACE2 receptor. I'll talk more about this when I talk about the vaccine. And it enters very quickly. The difference between COVID-19 and the other coronaviruses is this COVID-19, once it enters the respiratory cells, it holds on firmly, so very firmly, and it also spreads very quickly when you compare to SARS or MERS. So this is the unique nature of this virus. And even if a person talks loudly, the saliva or the secretions that comes out of his body can carry these droplets and transmit the virus. Another major challenge with this virus is some of them, they say about 80% of the patients are asymptomatic, where the patient themselves don't know that they are transmitting the infection. So this is another big challenge. And this virus, as it spreads, it goes into the lower respiratory tract and it infects the lungs as such, the base of the lungs, and may cause pneumonia. So main serious effect or the severity is seen as the patients developing pneumonia and dying. So this was one thing, like Dr. Shetty was saying, we initially thought it was only pneumonia and people were dying because of low oxygen or, this problem, this pathology. But then later we found out that this another concept called cytokine storm in people. That is, generally, whenever we have an infection to a bacteria or a virus, what happens? It comes and it gets into our defense cells. They are called the antigen presenting cells, which are present all over the skin and in the blood and everywhere. So these, our defense cells catches hold of these viruses or bacteria, and then it presents to the antigen presenting cells, and they release certain cytokines, which they help in the defense mechanism, and they again wane off. But in COVID-19 infection, what's happening is there is a storm of cytokines. There is an exorbitant overreaction of these cytokines, and this is leading to a coagulopathy or clot formations, which is mainly affecting the kidneys and the heart. So the people are not only they're dying of pneumonia, but they're also dying of damage to kidneys and damage to heart. So this are all, slowly we are, identifying many unique features of these viruses. We will have to see what the challenges are with COVID vaccine. Now, we have made many vaccines for many viruses previously. Now we've made vaccines for mumps, rubella. We've made for measles. We've made for smallpox. We've made vaccines for different viruses. But for COVID-19, you've all seen this picture where we had Jennifer Haller, who from Seattle, who volunteered for this company called Moderna, which was making this, which is still, trying to make a vaccine on RNA. And we also have another company called Biologicals in China, which is also trying to make a vaccine. So we have different companies coming forward to make vaccines, and we are all looking forward to them. But what is most challenging here is we are all in a hurry to get a vaccine. Now when we look at the traditional style of the vaccines which came to us, sometimes it took 20 years, sometimes it took 10 years for a vaccine to be made, because they would all go through a certain protocol. They would go through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The first trial would be in animals, and then once you come to humans, then you see the safety part first. Then after it goes to phase 2, you would look at the efficacy part. When it goes to phase 3, you would look at the evaluation part, and then you get the approval from the authorities, and then you manufacture, then you do the quality control. Now what is happening with the COVID-19 is we will have to jump certain phases. So when the normal stages, when you see, it's the exploratory stage, preclinical stage, clinical stage, regulatory review and approval, manufacture, and then quality control. But when it comes to COVID, we are actually jumping phases. So basically, we are looking at vaccines which are made out of RNA and DNA, because the speed, we have the advantage of speeding up when it comes to RNA and DNA, because we can make a bulk of vaccines very easily. So we're looking at these companies which are making vaccines through mRNA or DNA. And also vaccine development steps, we are trying to parallelize with animals and humans. Before, first you finish animals, you go to humans. But now we are trying to parallelly look at animals and humans. And we are also rapidly looking at the efficacy trial. The phase 2 trials are, we are cutting it short, making it small, and also looking at the large scale manufacturing of vaccines, which Dr. Sabeen will discuss.
So artificial intelligence in the banking and financial service is also playing a big role, and chatbots and virtual personal assistants, personalized communications and decisions tailored to the customer, streamlining processes, low value processes to be handled by AI and RPA. You're already seeing this when you open your cell phone, and a lot of calls you may be receiving already from different banks and things like that to promote their products and services. Based on your the consumer data that they have, and the AI platforms they have making decisions, contact you as per your personal profile, whether you are interested in buying a car or a house. They will offer different financial products. Biometrics, workflow, and compliance automation is another area that the banking industry is in. And personally, I've worked in the financial services sector for the last 30 years, and I personally implemented some of these services when I was with bank. So the next item that I would like to share with the viewers is the genetic testing on the healthcare point of view. So I'll take one use case, especially in India. There is a disease called sickle cell anemia. The people who have this condition, the red blood cells harden, and the flow of blood is prevented, and they die at a very early age. 40 million tribal people in India are impacted with this. Just quoting one example. So this is a single gene defect that is passed from generation to generation. But because of the DNA editing, that particular gene can be eliminated through gene editing, and then can inject back into the people, and over a period of time, they will reconstruct without this bad gene, and that can be from the society. But there is about 240 single genes are identified already that can be edited to remove from the planet. This is one of my dream project when I was working with Dr. Kalam. He wanted to provide affordable quality healthcare to the population, and preventive care is the way to go. genetic testing is going to provide that kind of ability to identify the population's possible diseases, and you can diagnose your disease, pinpoint genetic factors that caused your disease, predict how severe your disease might be, choose the best medicine and correct dosage, discover genetic factors that increase your disease risk, find genetic factors that could be passed to your children, and screen newborns for certain treatable conditions. So it's going to open up a big revolution in terms of the speed, cost, bandwidth, various things. The latency is going to be 10 times less, and 10 times connectivity density, 3 times spectrum efficiency, 100 times traffic capacity, experienced throughput, and 100 times network efficiency. So imagine this, and today we are in 3G and 4G world, and 5G is already coming into the market.
He asked, "What is the happiest moment of your life?" And so I was just trying to figure it out which was the happiest moment of your life, right? So was it that uh, you left your village, came to better education, better cities, or you came to US, got married, had children, or you bought fancy cars and stuff like that, which should not be the way to measure your happiness. But I was trying to see what was that moment, and guess what? I found one, because throughout my life, I'm number five in my family. We are six brothers. I'm number five. Most of them are advocates. They are all senior advocate in Supreme Court and High Court in Delhi. So being number five, you know that when there is scarcity of resources, so you tend to receive everything which has been used by somebody else. So the clothing to shoes to books to bags, you name it, everything was passed on to you. So there is a richness in that, right? But then you never got something which you really meant for you. You know, I was 8 years old, I remember, and I gave my first print of my foot to my father. It was passed on to my father through my mother and my grandmother, and then I got my first pair of shoe. Believe me, I slept with those shoes below pillow under my pillow that night, and I was waiting to go to school next day. And that was the happiest in 2015. And I'm sitting in the first row, and the gentleman from Fortune magazine asked Larry Page, "Why did you create Alphabet Inc.?" So, Dr. Maram, you must be thinking, and people on the call must be thinking, why there was a need for such a huge company to uh, create another company. So the answer to that question was that Google was never a mother. It was a product which became such a powerful value proposition to the people. But they, I mean, you're curious to come with something else in future. Where do you bring the invention, future inventions? So they needed a womb, they needed a mother. And that's the reason Alphabet Inc. was created. So you know that Alphabet Inc. was created a few years back, and Google is part of Alphabet Inc., which is such a huge organization, right? And the other day we were talking about left brain, role of left brain in life, role of right brain in life, and she was like, I said something. So she said that my cognitive flexibility was very good when I was 17, and I never heard those kind of words when I was growing up. Cognitive capabilities, right? And I said, what did you just said? She said, you know about left brain, right brain? I said, yeah, I kind of heard it long time back when I was trying to understand emotional intelligence. Because so whichever part of the brain which you are dealing with, that controls the opposite side of the body. So we tend to use our right side of body more probably, Suppose you have to write, you will pick up your pen, I will pick up my pen from the right hand. I will have to kick a ball, I will probably kick from the right side, right leg. So the left brain is controlling right side. It is because it has the logic built in. It has it does the rationalization. This does the sequence. This does the all sorts of calculations. The how far you have to drive so that you don't hit the next car in front of you. All sorts of decisions are made by left brain. But the right brain really does the magic. That's where your emotions, your feelings, your intuition, and all soft things which really make you successful in your life, right? But we tend to ignore that, you know. So if you look at most successful leaders in the world, you will find the right brain which controls the emotions and feelings, you know, happens to be much more evolved and developed, right? So how do you remember? So I said, so I forget which one side is right brain or left brain. I said, so my daughter said, which side is the right brain or left brain? What does it mean? I said, where is your heart? She said, on the left side. I said, where does heart has feelings or intelligence? So she said, yeah, it's all about feelings. I said, so just remember, so right brain will control your heart or your feelings or your emotions. You know, so when you talk about trust and relationships, I think these are soft skills which have to be the power skills for the future, to build the resilience, and then especially in tough times like this today, right? He talks about that whatever we do, we must analyze or we must reflect back on and try to question that. Continuous improvement will come on from questioning what you just did. How can I do it better? And that's what probably Steve Jobs did. And with that, they could apply those practices to do reflect and apply. So this entire process had been part of the companies like Apple or Tesla or Amazon. They all apply flow-based model these days. So post COVID, a lot of people ask me this question: what is that is required? This is a perfect time, especially whatever happens in the world, we can take it in a positive manner or a negative manner. We could be crying about the situation, we are stuck at home. Trust me, and you need to believe me on this one. For last 1 year, I've been studying 8 to 10 hours a day, every day. And I got like 15 different certifications at the age of 51. And I'm continuously learning. So what worked for me 20 years back would not necessarily work today. And I'm sure what will work today would we also be unlearned tomorrow. And I have to be mentally ready for it. I came up with this model actually. Recently, I was sitting in a 4O formula. It's called outlay leads to output, leads to outcome, leads to outlook. So I thought of how do we do it? I said, well, the way we could do it, we need to uplift our motivation. We need to uplift yourself for a better cause, better purpose. So many times there's a concept called find your purpose of life. So if you keep thinking of finding a purpose of life becomes very difficult. It seems to be such a massive task, right? So I kind of changed that thought process. I said, okay, we will get there, we'll arrive there, but a little differently. Let's look at a different approach to this. Let's understand the money which we spend, the effort we spend. So perform the assessment. So I came up with a model called reap the benefit. What is reap? Reap is nothing but this was talked about in Blue Ocean Strategy, that book by I think there's a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. So reap means reduce your effort or your time on those activities which have started giving less value to you. Reduce your time. E for eliminate your effort on those task activities which have stopped giving you value. Then A for add new set of activities or initiatives which you have not tried so far. Add. And P for push. Push on those set of activities or initiatives which have produced better value to you. So REAP formula you do apply and you do keep those things which are giving value. The rest of them you do unlearning. to be competitive in the current context, business context in the landscape. Then initiate and engage and reinforcement from the people around you so that there's a hand holding, proper hand holding for facilitation. So this is nothing but uplift formula. U for unlearn, P for perform, L for learn, Y for you. Y is the focus, you is the focus. And F means your facilitate, T means transformation. So in the stage of transformation, coach plays a huge role after you unlearn. Coach plays the huge role where you do peer to peer or you partner with the industry or academia, but it has to be platform based because you have to always keep coming to your herd, your community. We call it COP, community of practice. Whichever practice which you are in, you need to be associated with that type of like-minded people because learning together is much more powerful. It's more engaging. So that's what you work on the capacity building. You get aligned to various projects and programs, you innovate, and that's what you impact the bottom line of the organization. And with that, you need to make the continuously learning as way of life, and that will lead to continuous improvement, and you will get to your ikigai, find your purpose of life. So this is nothing but I have tried to raise your curiosity. Once you're curious, you will get to your purpose of life. So from a strategy to execution, you are able to get things done. So that is nothing but our own Ramcharan Saab would say that strategy and execution, if there is a fine line in between those, you are bound to fail. So with these photos, you are able to spend your money, do the investment, the outputs which you get, that will lead to outcome, the impact which you create, and that's how you will look at the future, how the future look like.
Before I talk about it, psychology, the word itself is still considered to be like a taboo. People are even scared to use the word psychology because they feel, oh, psychic, psychiatry. Am I not fine if I say that out? Are they going to corner me in the society? So there are a lot of such wrong concepts happening in and around. And now everybody is psychologically going through something. So psychology is the inner self. Okay, it is not external factor which is going to affect you like a COVID, but is your inner self. So you don't have to be ashamed about it or to talk about it or to approach someone regarding that, right? That's the first thing. And next is resilience. So resilience, some people ask me, do we have it? What is resilience? See, the capacity to handle something and recover quickly back, get back to the normal way. Let's say you had a mood swing in the morning, you are angry about something in the morning, you're going through an emotional issue in the morning, and immediately you are back to your work in a normal mindset without being affected. That is the resilience. And resilience is naturally inbuilt. You just have to trigger it, develop it over your years, and you develop resilience with the factors in the environment. Okay, resilience is interdependent with many things. You just don't become resilient within yourself. Some people look for resilient with the help of a family support, spouses support, friends support, and there are different ways. Some people feel resilient when they talk about it, when they let their tears out or stay calm, but you have to develop it over time. It's a day-to-day of motivating yourself, telling yourself that whatever comes by, you're not going to end your life today, right? You are somehow going to find a way to live this life. Any way you will find it. You will even find a way by eating cup noodles for the next few months, even if you have to, because that's how every human being is built. Somehow you will find a way for survival, and that is the resilient. And how do you have it? Because you have a family to feed, so you feel committed and you're running towards it. You have a society to really show that you have a status. I'm not surviving, I have all this to do. You're running towards it. Apart from that, you have a work, you have to prove to your boss so that you get a raise. So these are all the interdependent factors which is in making you survive, move on, and live. See, do not change your routines. I tell many people, this is COVID. We are all laid back. We are all lazy, sleeping in different cycles. We have changed lots of activities. We don't go to gym anymore. Nothing we do, right? But remember, one fine day, the world is going to come back to its norm. And when you get out, that is going to be another new world again. So do not keep yourself away from the older norm. Still be the same. If you had a morning routine of exercising, please practice that, because that is how you are psychologically built. Okay, so don't change all that. You all are pro at it. You have been doing it all this while. By generations, you were also children. It was not that we all came to adulthood directly. We all were children and then only a adult. It's just that to you, it suddenly looks new because you have grown up so much. So whatever your kids are doing is new, and they are in the next generation. So do not tell in front of your kid saying that, I'm waiting for you to go to school. When are they going to open the school? I can't be. See, you are putting in negativity. The basic key point of psychological resilience is positivity. Positivity keeps you going, you know. By listening to this, we might be motivated and everything, but instilling all this into a day-to-day activities is really, really important.
But there are several people like Sharmila, and there are many more people who have done great things in their life. And how does their psychology is different from our kind of current situation?
They are not afraid of pandemics because their own life itself has been a pandemic over the years with all the struggle. Facing this pandemic is just like some unknown organism is going to hit you, so they want you to be very cautious and preventive. But all these people have encountered known organisms in the name of human beings, you know, mocking at them, making a word at them, or you know, torturing them, coming and disturbing their life, and they have dealt with it. Not immediately they'll be like, I don't care and all. They learn it with experience. Sometimes they would have sat down to cry. Sometimes they would have felt very bad. They would have not had people to, you know, pick them up. But that's not, as I always said, life goes on. You either look out for people to come and do that for you, or you immediately get up.
So when I was looking at research papers around what are thought leaders talking across the world, I was quite fascinated by this term called the low-touch economy, right? What COVID has brought to us is the concept of a low-touch economy. What we basically mean here is an economy where touch touch and feel has, sort of almost gone out of consideration in the business context, right? So this basically refers to the way we as businesses are operating across the world, and we are actually being forced to operate in a way where we've never operated before in order to emerge successful as a result of COVID-19. So this is what we refer to in the context of COVID. And we're talking about three critical spheres of influence that we see here. One, we are all sort of, recipient of very strong social and regional regulations, right? Which is making us really reinvent the way we have connected with our stakeholders, whether it's about temporary lockdowns, whether it's about travel restrictions, or for that matter, simple social distancing norms. We've never been used to this, right? The second area of sphere of influence that I see where COVID's really impacted is it has a huge impact on how we behave as a society, right? So there are lots of precautions. There's a lot of, suspicion in terms of in the way we connect, in terms of the kind of groups that we are part of. And most importantly, all of this has had a huge impact in the way the economy has responded, right? So businesses are to go through pivots. There's a huge amount of division in terms of essential and non-essential resources, and all our plans for the short and the long term have all gone out of the window thanks to what we are facing now.
It's very important to have these two major skill sets in your life. That is, one is leadership and other is team building. So some people, they accumulate these kind of skill sets maybe from their childhood. They learn from their parents, they learn from the people around them and all that. And some people, like let us say, they do not have the skill set, they still try their level best to accumulate those skills. How can they learn and how can they improvise? So there's a huge balance between teamwork and leadership, which is always required. The balancing act plays a very important role. You have to be a leader and you have to take everyone in your team together as well. So integrity, success, the contribution which everybody makes, okay, making everybody to support the initiative, motivating them, planning them, being responsible, leading from the front, all that plays a very important role in successful leadership. So this is my inputs about teamwork and leadership on a general note. Next slide, please. So the importance of leadership. So I would like to highlight the impact of very strong leadership. So if you take any organization, the leader or the vision of the company should be very clear. Any organization wherein the vision or the mission of the company is not very clear, it fails. I would like to share a small story with you. So there were a group of mountaineers who were going on trekking, and they had missed the route, and they were finding it difficult. So the leader, the team leader, the person who was leading one of them, he happened to stumble upon a piece of a paper which was like a map, and he said, "Okay, I have found the way. Do not worry, and I will lead you." So based on what he found, he took people to various places, and maybe after a couple of hours of high and difficult trekking, they found that they have landed at nowhere. So then they found out that the map was a different map and it was a completely wrong one. So this is where a leadership fails. This is where a leader, without even checking what he's doing, just because on random ideas, he hears something from some people and he starts executing them. Okay, so that's wrong leadership. So in order to be a very strong leader, you have to have a very strong and focused vision and mission. Okay, see, I would like to share a quote from Steve Jobs: "Don't be afraid to be different." Okay, you have to be unique, you have to be different. Okay, for a leader to be strong, you have to be different and you have to be unique. You can't follow the same process day in, day out and expect to be a great leader. You can't expect people to come and follow you by doing same and similar things what other people are doing. Okay, so in order to be a leader, you have to be different and never be afraid of taking up challenges head on. Okay, so basically, what does a leader do? A leader is one who inspires and motivates action. Okay, see, maybe when you're studying in your school or you're doing your college, maybe it's enough that you just do well in your studies. It's sufficient. Okay, but after you finish your school and maybe after you finish your college, you have to work together as a team. When you're working in a company or when you're working as an entrepreneur, okay, you might be given a task and which you will have to take everybody along to finish the task. Otherwise, the task will not be completed. Okay, so leader is the one who inspires and motivates action. Okay, so he should have the personality that, okay, I will do it, and he will be able to show the way. Okay, so strong leadership skills are required. Okay, in order to change or in order to take decisions head on. Okay, the other members of your team should know that, okay, he is directing us or he or she is leading us on the right path. Okay, so that's where the strong leadership comes into play. So some of the important thing is a leader should be able to communicate very well. Okay, it's not only that, okay, I have a great thought process, but just imagine I have a great thought process and I share process with other people. So I should be able to share this thought process till the last person in the league. Okay, who in the last line of work, I should be able to share what he or she should do or what I expect from them. Okay, so how they are going to play a role. So communication plays the major role. Okay, a leader should be having very strong communication skills. Next, see, there are tough times. If you take the COVID-19 situation, I think it has challenged everybody. It has challenged the topmost. It has challenged the biggest billionaires on the planet. Okay, but you have to be motivated, because only if you are motivated will your employees or the people who are looking forward to you be motivated. Will they see a ray of hope in you? Okay, so motivation is the key. Okay, always spread positivity. Always spread positivity. It is difficult. Okay, it is difficult. No, it is not always possible for a person to come up and say, okay, we will get it done. Don't worry about it. We will take care. It is difficult. But having the positive attitude, especially when you're a leader, there might be thousands of people who are following you, okay, thousands of people who are looking towards you and who are expecting, okay, what is he or she going to do? Okay, he or she is going to guide us. Okay, next is creativity. See, being in this generation, I think creativity plays a very important role for being a leader. You can't just use the old thing. See, like today we are connecting via Zoom, so probably we wouldn't have thought about it. And maybe I think Hari Krishna sir is connecting with thousands of people. Whatever information we are having, we are. So I think Hari Krishna sir has taken a creative initiative. Okay, he has taken a creative, innovative method to bring many people together. Okay, so let us say Joshua would like to share something, but in which platform can I share? So Hari Krishna Madam sir has given us a platform. Okay, next is always have a feedback. Okay, see, when you're ready for critical feedback, that is where you can improve. Okay, if you're not ready to take a feedback, if you're not ready to take suggestions, see, the suggestions can go against you, don't worry, but that's the way you can improve. So that's the way you can become a great leader. So these are the leadership traits. So being loyal, okay, being loyal. See, you can't expect it from cheap people. You can't expect it from a person who's not a leader. Okay, being loyal shows that, okay, you stand for something. You stand for something more than yourself. Being empathetic, okay. See, you don't have to be, you don't have to show sympathy, but you should be empathetic towards your employee. You should be empathetic towards your clients. Okay, being empathetic shows that you are a true leader. Taking accountability, I think most of you would have seen. I would like to maybe take up Dhoni for this particular case. Okay, so it's like whenever the team loses, he stands out from the beginning and says, like, maybe the batsman, or maybe I should have batted, I should have changed my position, or I should have done better, or maybe I should have taken a different decision to bowl a different person at a particular time. So take accountability. See, it doesn't mean that you have to come and stand in the front when there's success, and you blame the other people. Okay, when there's failure, so be accountable. Okay, duty and determination plays a very important role. Okay, energy and encouragement. Okay, respect all the people in your team. Be selflessness. Okay, be honorable and be humble. Okay, integrity and innovation plays a very important role. Passion and pride for whatever work you do. See, whatever maybe business you are doing, okay, respect it and have pride in the work which you do. And a leader is a person who always shows the way and goes the way. Okay, so it's not that I sit at my desk. Okay, I sit at my desk, and from my office I just command people. I have to go on. Maybe a king has to go on to the battlefield. Okay, and maybe he has to take the battle heads on. Okay, that's how a leader goes on. Okay, next slide, please. So teamwork is the process of working collaboratively with a group of people in order to achieve a goal. Okay, you are put together with a random set of people. Okay, and you are trying to achieve the goal. Most circumstances you might be in this position. Okay, but what does a leader do? A leader doesn't only go with the existing team. He tries to build a team. Okay, the ability to identify and motivate individual employees. Okay, depending upon whatever skill set they have, and then work together to achieve the goal. There, the success is much more huger. Okay, so this is the difference between teamwork and team building. Next slide, please. So the purpose of team building activities is to motivate your people to work together. Okay, regularly what we do is we have a lot of activities, and so to all the people I say, like, see, the activity is to make, not to bring in competition, not to bring in rivalry. Okay, it is to motivate you to work together, to develop your strengths. And let us say you have any weakness, nothing wrong in having a weakness, but how can we improve on those weaknesses? And we should be very clear what our weaknesses are. Okay, so that is the main purpose of team building activities. Okay, so any team building exercise should encourage collaboration, okay, rather than competition. It is, see, maybe there's a healthy competition between team members. It's good. There may be many teams, and there may be competition between teams, but again, at any circumstance, if the company requires you to collaborate, you should be able to collaborate with each other as an individual and as a team. Okay, so be sure to incorporate team building in your workplace routines and practices. So being a leader, okay, don't think it is not necessary. Okay, each department will work separately. Okay, each department will have to work hand in hand, will have to know what is the aim and vision, and will have to work together to achieve the greatest success.